Hello again, and welcome back to another episode of United We Stand, Divided We Podcast. I am Robert from the U.S., and with me, my co-host.
That would be Lionel from Toronto, Canada, and I am upset because I can't get this to work. So I have to use a mouse pad. Or trackpad, I mean. Sorry. Mouse pad.
Technically challenged. User
error. It's not user error. It's Windows doing some kind of an update and when I slept.
Probably.
Yeah. Anywho, having said that, we're getting closer to Christmas. So, Christmas gift giving time. Are you going to get somebody an iPhone? Are you going to get somebody a Pixel? Or are you going to get somebody a Samsung like Robert has there? Probably neither. You'll probably get him something else. So that's not a good segue into the next thing. But I tell you what, though, are electronics a big item, do you think, this year for people?
100%.
How is that? Oh, that's right, because the tariffs hadn't kicked in yet. That's the segue.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Well, let's see how that goes.
I couldn't remember if we had brought that up last week or not. And
no, we didn't. We didn't. So. And it's yet to be seen how all that's going to play out. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
he kind of does his own. He does his own thing, and
yeah, he does.
I don't even know what to think about it, honestly.
Well, just to be clear, what the heck? We'll mention basically how this works and how he doesn't know that. And how so many millions of people actually just listen to him off the bat and don't understand. So I'm not going to try to belittle anybody for believing something, the politician that they've religiously bought into. But here's basically what a tariff is. This isn't a tax that is charged to a company or country when they're exporting it to your country, you're importing it in. A tariff is something that you have to pay to bring something into the country. You've already made your purchase. Now, just put this in as an example. Robert sent me a gift, what was it, a couple of years ago now? Yeah. And neither one of us saw how much of the fee that was going to be. That was irrelevant, mind you, because the tariff itself we knew about. That is something that Robert doesn't pay. In fact, he's not even capable of paying the tariff. It has to be paid at the border on my. Technically, he could send the money in on my behalf, but you know what I mean. It has to hit the border and be on the Canadian side, and in order to continue, it has to be paid. So I paid it. So that's my cost. So if I'm a consumer and I'm waiting for a product that's manufactured in in the United States. But at least some of the parts are coming from China or Canada or some other countries that's being tariffed, Mexico, whatever, or maybe some from each of them, which makes it even worse. And those parts get put together here, but they have to pay the tariff, 25% Canada, Mexico, and it was somewhere either 10% or 100%, depending on when he speaks and what the item might be. So you could be paying 50, 70 to 150% tariff. So if this is something that would normally cost you as a consumer, say $500, you have to think that the cost of that is probably somewhere between $100 and $200. And that's just being conservative. It could be far less and they're making a bigger profit. But either way, those tariffs on the cost for them to bring it in is based on the cost they paid. So if they paid $100 for it and it's costing them 70%, that's $170. They're not paying that. They're passing it on to the next. So they may only be a middleman. So now the vendor has to pay that much. Well, they don't want to pay it. So they have to pass it on to the consumer. So now they have to jack the price up, but now they have to make it so that it's exactly X amount of dollars and 99. Right. So in order to do that and to make the tax dollar work properly for them and to make it look better on their books, because for some reason it always got to have weird, odd numbers when you're doing taxes for your company. I don't know why, but that's what they do. I'm not an expert in that field.
Me either.
Yeah, but in any case, the bottom line is they may put a 5 to 10% jack up in price to match up for that, saying, well, there's this much more effort that has to be put into it. You have to put into this. So a company wants to make a profit on everything they do. If they have to pay wholesale for something, then they add a minimum of 5% just on the purchasing of it. Then they have to manufacture it, and it costs them, say, 120% of what the cost of the item was. They're going to make it as if it were 150% instead. And then they're going to double that cost to sell it to you. And that's always the case. And it may be more than double or slightly less. But the point is, if you get 70% tariff, not tax, tariff, then you have to pay it. Then they're going to give you that 70 plus probably 5 to 20% more on top of that. So Americans are going to pay more because of the tariffs.
Of course. That's what everyone's, thinking, that it's going to, kick inflation up through the roof.
Yeah. And it's not going to be good for Canada either. It's, we're going to retaliate. Yeah. But when we do, that means that when I want to buy something that comes from the United States, instead of being, say it's $150 US, it's probably $240 Canadian. Well, now it's going to be $300 Canadian for something you pay $140 for that's manufactured in the US. Right. So it's not fair to anybody. And then people are going to stop buying, and then purchasing power goes down, and then they have to jack the prices up more because everything's not in demand. So then less gets sold. So then they start having to go, well, okay, we're going to have to start dumping stuff because nobody's purchasing. So what do? They try to sell everything online at barely over cost because now they're screwed. And everyone's trying to get on the verge of bankruptcy. This is a couple of years down the road, of course, right? It's not, the next day kind of thing.
Well, right.
But when it does happen, what you end up with is And so what's going to happen is people are going to start buying eventually. And you're going to end up with something similar to a bubble, but kind of in reverse. And they're going to just have to try to sell stuff off, but it's not going to work because people don't have money. And the interesting thing is that while some companies might not understand how this is working, and most companies will because they're in shipping, they're in logistics, they know how it works. There may be some that don't understand as well or as much, or think it won't affect them the same way, especially if they mostly do the shipping and not so much the receiving on the American side. So they may start actually overstocking. And the problem with when you overstock, you end up with an overabundance of stuff. Now, I don't know if anybody remembers how the whole chip shortage started, but it actually originally started with an overstock, which was pretty bad because inevitably it ended up being they didn't make, and then they had to sell off. And of course, there were, that got worse when they suddenly didn't have enough chips because everybody stopped buying.
Yeah, but that was also I think COVID had a lot to do with that as well.
Well, COVID came later. No, COVID came later. The whole thing with the chip started 2 years before COVID.
Yeah, but it really blew up in everyone's face when that happened because
of course it did, because we didn't have shipping all of a sudden either. But it was still at least a year after the COVID thing ended before the chip shortage finally came to an end. And pretty much now you can go to something they say, oh, there's a new product coming out. Should be out Wednesday, and you can find it anywhere. You're not going to have a problem finding an Xbox or a PS5 right now.
Well, I remember hearing about shiploads of new vehicles sitting in shipyards waiting for motherboard chips.
Yeah,
because they didn't have enough. So I mean, it's and
a lot of them, a lot of them were EVs, but there were just a lot of new regular gas powered cars too.
I mean, everything runs on computers.
Yeah. Some cars have 3 or 4 ECUs in them. So for different purposes.
Yeah, we'll have to see how that all plays out. I mean, for me, it's really kind of a wait and see game. Because a lot of things, you can talk about it, but he doesn't have sole 100% power. He's not a dictator yet.
Yes,
I said yes.
Yes.
So there is, even though, it's basically a Republican, government right now, because there's not a majority of Democrats anywhere, but there's still people that, just because they're Republican, don't necessarily believe in this happening or that happening. So you're still going to have, this fight within Congress and the House and Senate and, the president and vetoing, and, who knows? We'll have to see. It's going to be insane. It's going to be a ride.
A ride.
I'm here for it.
Oh boy.
So, but what can you do? Unlike some people say, just so you know, I'm not moving to Canada. Nothing against Canada, but I'm not moving to Canada.
Well, it doesn't do you much good right now, anyways, with what we got going on. But let me.
You're not even getting mail right now, right? Is you still on a mail strike? I meant to ask you that. I meant to ask you that the other day.
No, we got no mail.
Yeah.
We got no mail. Wait a minute. Hang on. Oh, this isn't working. I can't scroll. I need my mouse, man. Oh, that scrolling's working again now. Oh, I wanted to show a picture of something, but I can't seem to find the picture I'm looking for. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Go ahead and keep talking while I'm.
Oh, I thought you were fixing to pop it up there.
I will.
But no, I was just asking about that. I didn't know if you were still under your mail strike or not. And, I mean, do they have any kind of idea when that's going to conclude? I mean, is this going to go on for a long time, or?
Last I heard, they are finally back in talks. They actually stopped talking because they were so far apart. But apparently, they're actually talking about something again. But I don't know the details. But listen, since you mentioned about the non-dictator yet, I thought there are two things, one in history and one in science fiction, that kind of sort of took a page out of history in order to write this story. You can ask George Lucas about it. He may or may not say that's exactly where he got it from, but this might look familiar to a lot of people. For those who might not know, that Senator Palpatine finally saying to the people, I reluctantly take control of the entire Senate until further notice in order to regain peace because of the fighting in the streets and the internal wars going on. In Star Wars, this is what happened. In Germany, this is what happened when his stormtroopers were sent out to cause riots so they could actually say they were needed for the peace. And then he was able to take control when he asked about that. So that's kind of scary. And I've said this before, and I say it again. If anybody thinks that history can't repeat itself, think again, because certain people that should be in prison right now are going to be president soon.
And just look at the mullet. The mullet came back. No one ever thought that would happen.
Biggest crime ever. But then again, you know what? I didn't mean that for those of you who love mullets, because the mullet communities out there, they're very passionate about it. And a lot of people will see a mullet and automatically go, don't break my heart. My aching.
And who knows? If I had enough hair, maybe I'd rock a mullet. Who knows?
I could never rock a mullet, as you can see. That's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I can't suppose
rock
anything.
I suppose I could shave it on the sides and top and let it go curly thick on the back, which would look stupid, and it wouldn't be a mullet.
Then you would look like
Afro mullet.
What's his name from Blade Runner?
Blade Runner. What?
The movie Blade Runner. You know how he
wait. Which one? Please don't tell me you're talking about a remake, because I don't watch remakes of classic movies like that.
I don't know which one, but
Harrison Ford.
He has
original one from the 80s.
He has a strip of hair that's just like,
probably the 80s, the old one.
What was the black actor that played in that? I can't.
I have no idea. I saw Blade Runner once, and I'll tell you how much I remember about it. Title: Blade Runner. That's it.
Yeah, well then,
obviously it wasn't my cup of tea.
then my
No
reference
offense to
is
Blade Runner
irrelevant because
fan.
you don't know anyway. So.
I have no idea. Unless you're thinking about Mad Max, because you're describing something like Mad Max.
Well, there's a guy in, I mean, there's been a lot of movies that people have had that kind of hairstyle. So, anyways,
Well, true. It was also the 80s. There were a lot of people standing in the middle of the street with that hairstyle. I'm having some flickery issues. I hope you're not seeing it on your end, but you probably are.
Yeah, it's flickering, but
okay. Well, apologies. We're having technical difficulties. But at least we don't have that big thing come up on the screen like back in the TV days. I've dated myself again. Okay, let's move on. And since we're babbling a little bit about that, what you sent me something earlier. It's interesting here. Oh yes, right. The Pixel has been updated finally. And it's always possible somebody hasn't got their update yet, because you know how it is. But most people should have it by now, because it's a few days back now. But with the latest update and feature drop, you can now set your Pixel phone, I think from Pixel 6 and up, certainly 7 and up anyways, to charge at, only up to 80%, which preserves the battery so it'll last longer. A lot of people say, well, it won't last all day that way. Well, most people still have 20 or more percent when they go to bed at night. So technically it still will for most people. If it doesn't, you can still plug it in the car and all that stuff. The whole point of keeping it from 80%, if you plug it in the car, plug it in on the kitchen counter while you're making dinner or whatever it is you need to do, plug it in at work, whatever, it'll never go over 80, which saves 20% of the battery, which means it lasts longer. It's healthier for a longer period of time. Now, I never worry about it because I change phones every year. So for me, it's not a big deal to lose 15% in that first year. But that said, here's the kicker. Apparently, they have also made it so this is completely pass-through charging. When it's on that mode and it's hit 80%, unlike, well, basically every other phone or the other regular charging mode or adaptive charging mode on Pixel, which when you plug it in and it hits 100%, it will drain 1 or 2% and trickle charge, or sometimes it won't even drain a whole percent. As soon as it detects that it's getting any drainage at all, it'll trickle charge it again, and it'll continue to do that. This apparently basically shuts the battery off and just does pass-through power. So you basically have your phone sitting there, whether you're using it or not, only use the exact amount of power it needs directly from the wall.
Yes, and that feature is only available on 8 Pro and 9 series.
Yeah, that's true.
They pass through charging. You can't, the Pixel 6, 7, they don't support the pass through charging. It doesn't say, I was looking at it while you were talking, and I don't see where it mentions what model the 80% is, but I would imagine that's probably going to be every Android device that's currently supported. So it'd probably go back to level 2.
Well, right now it's only the Pixel.
Well, that's what I mean. That's what I'm sorry. That's what I meant. Every Pixel that's supported.
Yeah.
Still.
Now, technically speaking, it's built into Android itself. It's not written on top of the Pixel, but the Pixel has opened up the ability. So that means every phone moving forward with this version of Android going forward will have the ability to add that feature or any variation of it. However, I suspect Samsung will probably be the first to do it in the next phone that they put out. And probably OnePlus. I would guess that they would do that because if there's an ability to do something, OnePlus adds it. Usually. Right. They don't usually fail at that. If there's an ability to do it, they put it in. Yeah. And also, you'll be able to charge from 0 to 80 on a OnePlus in about a half a second. So,
yeah. Now, one thing I want to point out too, for some of you who are thinking that's 80% and that it's going to be stuck on that for life, these batteries don't hold memory like the old ones. So you don't have to worry about like only charging the 80 and then you'll never get more than 80 because 80 will become the new 100. That doesn't happen anymore.
Yeah,
that was a long time ago.
There's no memory effect.
So if you're thinking that's an issue, that's not an issue anymore. There's no more battery memory.
Yeah, no,
So
that actually stopped with nickel metal hydride batteries, and
right.
it was the ones before them that I can't remember the name of too. But nickel metal hydride batteries were supposed to not have a memory effect, and it turned out to be the absolute worst memory effect battery ever made. If you basically charged your phone to 100% and then put it on the charger at 50%, and you did that more than 2 or 3 times, it's likely you would never be able to get 100% battery. It would say 100%, but it would actually start charging at 50% and go up, because
Yeah.
when you didn't charge it or didn't drain it all the way, I can't remember what you call it. What's the matter with me? The material in it would crystallize, and once it crystallized, it was useless. So
Yeah. Yeah.
pointless.
But
But
there's still people who
yeah.
think that happens, so I just wanted to make sure.
No, lithium batteries are completely different. The truth of the matter is, the more you charge lithium batteries, the better it actually is. In all honesty, it's better to actually charge a lithium battery 15 times a day, somewhere between 30 and 80% all day long, even. So, I've been out of the house for an hour. I'm going to put it on the charger. Take it off the charger. It's at 75. Use it for an hour and a half. You go swimming in the pool in the backyard if you're rich. And and you're like, I'm gonna put it on the charger while I'm in the pool. So it's in the pool for 20, or in the pool, on the charger for 20 minutes, and and then jumps back up to 75%. And okay,
Well, mine's on and
great.
off wireless charging all day long. I
Yeah,
mean,
and it does not hurt it. As a matter of fact, it actually makes it better, because what it's doing is it actually thinks about the entire cycle. So because it doesn't have a memory effect, that means the amount of electrons and in it is always going to be there, but eventually your cathode and anode start to get gunked and won't work as effectively. But it takes a long time for that to happen. So you can still continue to do that. Every battery is going to degrade over time at this point with current technology. But the difference is that for the first few months, you probably still have 100% battery health. After about 6 months, it might drop 5-10%, but that doesn't mean 5 or 10% of your battery. It just means the battery health might drop that much. So instead of, it might still say 100%, but it's only going to drain to about 10% before it dies instead of 1%.
yeah, even
That kind of thing.
my car is 2017 hybrid, plug-in hybrid, and I've lost probably 10 to 20% on the battery. I used to be able to get 20 miles, and now I get about 15.
Oh yeah,
So
okay. By the way, if anybody wants to use that as an argument for, oh, well, see, that doesn't happen with gas cars, because lose any battery. You try to tell me that your 10-year-old car can go just as far on the same amount of gas as it did the day you bought it. You're a liar if it does. And I'll tell you why. It's worn down, and your cylinders are worn.
yeah.
Your rods are worn. They don't produce the same amount of power. You might think they do, and you might not even notice it. But if you have your car long enough, you probably wonder why it doesn't feel quite the same. Oh, I just got a tune-up and I got new oil, and it's just smoking good compared to what it was yesterday before you did the tune-up. Absolutely. Is it the same as the day you bought it? No. And I know this because I've had cars for more than a couple of years. And after about 3 years, you start to notice it doesn't have the same level of power. And it makes sense. So there are people that do an overhaul every 4 or 5 years, and they can afford it. They have the know-how, or something along that line. And that's the difference. They can not only get that power back, but they can maybe even add power to it. But
Yeah.
if you
Well,
don't,
everything
you're an
everything
average person.
degrades.
Yeah, exactly. If you're an average person, then that's not what you're doing. You're doing your regular tune-ups like they tell you to, if you're doing it, that is. And then if you bought it from a dealer, then yeah, you go to a dealer for that because you need the record of it. Um, and that's pretty much the bottom line. You're still going to lose your 5, 10, 15% over however many years in its efficiency. And also bearings wear out. We just got new bearings. Yeah, but everything it's attached to is still wearing. everything. Your axle's wearing, but you're not replacing your axle because it's half the cost of your car. But it's wearing too. So you just don't have the same mileage as when you
I mean, given they are a lot more reliable and longer
no,
lasting than they
absolutely.
used to be, but
Yeah,
everything's got a lifespan, for sure.
Yeah, everything does. I'm just making the argument for if somebody says, "Oh no, this is why gas," because you can, you're not going to lose 20% of your in a year. Maybe not 20%, but over 5 years, there's not going to be that much of a difference between how much a battery degrades on a car. So, oh yeah, but you know how many thousands of dollars they have to pay to get a whole new battery pack in their car? Probably a good amount of money. But if you blow your engine, it's going to cost even more. Congratulations.
Or at least the same.
Well, yeah, it depends on the car. If it's a Tesla, it's going to cost you way more for the battery. But that said, right?
I mean, battery technology is the weak point. I think in phones, cars, I don't care what it is that runs on lithium ion. I think once they find a way to get past the lithium ion effectively and get into a better, more efficient battery where it's producible without too much cost and time, and that's when things are really going to change.
Really, the best option is, at this point anyways, is a dry cell battery. But unfortunately, as you had mentioned, the cost effectiveness, they can't put enough power, and they can't do it cheap enough yet.
Right.
However, theoretically, because it's technically possible, the same size, like if you were to take, say, a AA lithium battery and put it next to a AA dry cell battery, the dry cell battery should be able to, when they can get their ducks in a row and get that done, should last, I can't remember what it was, but it's orders of magnitude more power for the same, basically, power to weight. So think of it this way: if they could do the dry cell batteries, you could put 1/4 of the Tesla battery in, and you would actually end up with probably 10% more power in a Tesla that would last at least 100% longer.
Yeah, I've read some tests where they've been doing like stuff on solid state, and it's impressive the amount of range and stuff they can get out of it. But again, it's just not.
Yeah, well, when they
ready.
When they get to the point where they can do that in a phone, and believe me, it'll happen in car. It'll happen in cars long before phones, because it'll get way too expensive for phones, because they have to put it small, and they'll be thinking about profit and how much can they make. But the thing is, when they put it in a car, they can say, well, we can do this for this. At first, they'll do it. We can do it for 20% more than the cost of that. But then you can use that as an excuse to charge 10% more for your car, because people will never have to change the battery for their life.
Right.
Which would be pretty cool, right? Because it would degrade like anything else. That'd be bullshit if they said it otherwise. But the difference would be you would probably be able to use it for 10 years before you would see a 10% loss, as opposed to 1 or 2. And that's
here's something that I find kind of stupid. And I mean, again, I say that because I'm not an electrician. I don't know electronics. I don't build them. I don't design them. But why do you still have to have a 12-volt battery in a car that has a battery? Why can't you have some kind of circuitry, resistors, or something that converts that lithium ion power into what you need for your 12-volt system?
Okay, wait a minute. Because I don't have an electric vehicle, there's some things I don't understand. Are we talking about something other than a Tesla, or a Tesla itself, or any electric vehicle?
Any electric vehicle that I know, like both, well, again, ours are hybrids, they're not full electric, but nonetheless, when I get in my car, I push a button and it turns on. It doesn't start. Like the gasoline engine might not even run. But there's a 12-volt battery that controls your door locks, your dashboard lights.
Okay, there is an incredibly good reason for that, because the 12-volt battery, being a regular, I'm assuming, lead acid battery.
Yeah, it's a regular battery. Yeah, it's regular battery.
Think about this. That's what we use in the Arctic. You don't use a lithium battery in the Arctic.
Okay, the average person doesn't live in the Arctic.
Yeah, I know that, but that's not my point. My point is what I'm saying is it's robust. It can handle it, and also it can put out an insane amount of power like that as fast as possible with no juice up. And so you turn something on, and it's just instantaneous.
You're telling me there's no way to be able to take the power that you already have in your lithium-ion battery.
If you do that with that bank of lithium-ion batteries, just to be clear, it's a bank of lithium-ion batteries, on several banks actually.
Yes, okay.
If you do that, what you're doing is you're draining power from it continuously just to monitor that, and it's unnecessary. It's a power drain they don't want to do. And for cars that aren't hybrids, it's the same basic idea. Because again, in an emergency situation, that battery will always work where the other battery won't. Also, you try to jumpstart a Tesla. It's not going to happen. Battery's dead. You got to plug it in. You can't jumpstart it. But if you've got a lead acid battery, all you need is something the size of this phone to put charge back into that battery to open the damn door.
Mm-hmm.
I know you don't agree.
I've been locked out of my car because of it.
Yes, shouldn't be. They didn't make it properly. But that happens with Teslas too. But Tesla doesn't do it right either. The point is that
you should take your engineering degree that you obviously have in batteries and figure something out.
That's a little unfair. Insulting. I'm just telling you, it is what it is. There is a reason that they put a regular battery into the thing, and
they should be able to make it where they can get around that. There should be a way.
Not with a lithium battery. There's no way, because you can't say, okay, I'm going to take power from the battery, but it's not going to take power from it. You realize when there's no alternator turning, the lithium-ion battery is trickle charging the 12 volt. Yeah, but that's
you realize that.
But that's different. It's hard to explain. That's a different story altogether. Remember, you don't have a starter on something like a Tesla, right? Or whatever other vehicle. I keep saying Tesla, but you know what I mean. So it doesn't have to be like because that's how you have to start some things. And that's what a lead acid battery does for you. Gives you that. Okay? Instant hard power.
Okay. I still think there's a way to do it. They just haven't done it. You can argue all you want, but there's got to be a way to do it and get around that 12 volt battery. It's ridiculous.
But it would also be much bigger chance of failure. Why do you think they did it? I mean, the truth of the matter is it doesn't cost less money. At this point in time, it costs less money to put because a lithium-ion battery that would be 12 volts. Are you kidding me? There you go. And then about the weight of this too. That's like, it makes no sense to have a battery like this instead, unless it's necessary. So engineers know what they're doing. In that particular case, I disagree with some things, but that one I understand. Again, when they come up with like,
I think it's ridiculous, and that's it's ridiculous
that anymore, because dry cell batteries will work in almost any temperatures, and with nothing explosive whatsoever, no fire hazards, and you'll be able to get instantaneous power, and as Palpatine said, unlimited power. So, well, maybe not unlimited, but that's what Palpatine said. So
anyway, it's ridiculous. From an owner of a hybrid that's been locked out of my car twice and not able to jumpstart it, mind you, not able to jumpstart it, even though I have jumper cables, another car, not able to jumpstart it, having to go get a battery, put a battery in my driveway is a pain in the ass. There you go.
That's because it's a hybrid. If it was fully electric, it would work differently. If it's fully gasoline, it works differently. It's a hybrid. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's my point. Exactly.
It's a hybrid. Hybrids don't know if they're coming or going.
Oh, my God. Okay.
Hey, man, it just shows that, in case anybody's wondering, he was ribbing me for a while before we got started, so it's my turn.
Okay.
Okay, we'll we'll move past that. Where are we at this point? I am actually lost in what we were even.
Well, apparently Apple has the intelligence. There you go.
There you go. Well, no. Apparently, Apple wants you to buy their intelligence. Apple has always been brilliant with marketing. Steve Jobs saw to that, and it's continued. Is it as good as it was when Steve Jobs was around? No, not even close. But it's still worlds better than most others. 100% of the time, they're at least on par. Probably 50% of the time or more, they're better than almost everybody else in marketing. Doesn't necessarily mean they have better products. It depends on who you are and what you like. I don't know why my computer is blocking my entire screen saying load disk space. Here I am about to lambaste and all over the place on Apple, and I'm getting embarrassed using Windows. Unbelievable.
Nobody sees that. If you had not said anything, no one would know.
I couldn't see anything. I had to say something. I didn't know what was going on. God, I feel like I'm doing a CBC broadcast. Shots fired. Anyways. Where was I?
Well, you should go to Fox News. They're better.
Apple. Yeah, there you go.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I don't like any news. I don't watch
I'm not good enough for Fox News. Okay. Anyways. Yeah, so Apple's got their 8.2,
18.2, yeah.
18.2, sorry. Out, which is supposed to be the vast majority, at least, of their Apple Intelligence features introduced originally, supposedly at 18, but very few things available at that point. However, interestingly enough, an unnamed person messaged me and said, "Hey, I got 18.2. You know what? Let me just. I'm not gonna let you see this because it's personal, and this is gonna remain an unnamed person here. I didn't put my glasses on. I don't want to misquote the person, even though I'm stealing what they told me. Where are we? Upgraded to iOS 8. I'm gonna get a phone call about this later, right? Because he's gonna watch. Anyways, upgraded to iOS 18.2. Haven't had time to play with it yet. Visiting blank. Anywho, shortly thereafter, and that was okay. Shortly thereafter, I get another message that says both Genmoji and Image Playground suck compared to Gemini.
And for those of you who aren't aware, that's tools inside of Apple Intelligence that came out with 18.2.
Not the only tools, but the one that they're
that's part of it's some of the tools. Yes.
The one that they're bragging about is the Image Playground. But here's what I think. Before I go too nuts on laughing at Apple over it, Gemini is still trying to pull their pants up right now. They still haven't got the toilet paper off the bottom of their foot from the last time they went. It's not perfect. There are times where you'll get a way better result, and I mean sometimes way better from ChatGPT than you will Gemini. Other times Gemini does a better job. Sometimes only marginally. Sometimes way better. Depends on what you're doing, where the context and everything. Both models that I just mentioned should be getting massive upgrades in the next few weeks. Could even be as little as a few days because Gemini have made their 2.0 announcement already now. Yeah. Did you know about that, by the way? 2.0?
Yeah, I saw a notice, and actually, I went into Gemini earlier today, and it also gave me an option for something else. Where's my mouse at?
Yeah, it was what was the experimental thing or something? No, I'm thinking about something else. It's
no,
I saw it too, but it wasn't working yet. I think you have to do it on the web, whatever it was.
So it's 1.5 Pro with deep research, and I actually tested it, and it was really cool.
I wasn't able to do it. It wasn't available to me at the time, and they didn't say it was U.S. only, but I suspect that might be a case. But I was gonna give it information about just your name and your channel and see if it could pick up every single thing.
I was really, really impressed with the amount of research it did
Oh,
to
really?
answer my question. Yeah, it pulled like literally from like 15 different YouTube channels, some blog posts from Google
Yeah.
Trends.
So now
Um,
this is interesting because this sounds like something that with the next iteration of Gemini advanced on an Android smartphone, not the current one, but the next one, you should probably be able to tell it that you wish to do a project at this particular website, which you'd be basically pointing Gemini to Gemini and then telling it what you want to do while still on your phone.
yeah, well,
You
let me
can't
here.
do that right now,
Let,
but
let me show you. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So this is the so I asked it, I wanted some keywords, SEO keywords for Canada US comparison channel for this channel. Cause I was like, maybe I should see if it can give me some better keywords that I can put into the YouTube section of the channel. And so it took it about 15 minutes, but it went through all of this different information. It gave me all these different like sections, higher education and cultural differences, language differences, legal. It gave me monetary, and you can see how it gave me these long tail. Oh, here's some long tail keyword ideas and keywords for target audiences. And you can see
man,
here where it did all of these YouTube channels and everything. It pulled data from all of this and it generated a doc. There's a document in my Google Docs that it generated that I can go back and review.
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yeah, he
amazing.
said he took it off before I moved it.
Uh,
Okay.
I didn't know you were watching it up there, but
Oh
yeah, it
yeah,
was pretty amazing.
I couldn't read it even with my my glasses on. So I got to
Oh,
put the
right, yeah.
unfortunately that's going to make my window it's not resizing, so I actually have to shrink my window and then put it back.
Oh,
Actually
yeah, I
no,
hate that.
oh, I went the wrong way. That's because I had moved. Oh no, it's halfway in between. That's why it's not going to work. All right, so I guess I'll have to put it full screen on this side
There we
and
go.
then move it. There we are. All right.
At any rate,
Uh,
you can see the amount of information. It was just like it was unreal about how it just like it was like a
yeah,
research assistant. I mean, it was crazy. I was
that
impressed.
that is amazing. That actually could come in handy just for even stuff we do. Like sometimes we have to go through a lot of stuff. We don't have necessarily have a lot of time um, in
Right.
preparation, so we'll sit there and put together different topic ideas. Sometimes days and like I mean, 5 minutes after we stop, one of us may message the other with something. Oh, well, next week we should mention this, and we may or may not
Yeah.
remember it. We have a list that
Yeah.
we put stuff into, and we get across that. Whatever we can talk about. But being able to do this, um, we could actually put that stuff in, and then even beyond that, we could do. This looks like it's way more functional than Notebook LM, which is again Google.
Yeah. I
Uh,
don't. I still don't understand how to use it. I played with it and I just don't really get it.
yeah, I guess if you want to do a podcasty thing for fun or for serious reasons even, then it works great and it does a really good job. But it's only pulling information. It's not doing anything for you other than putting down the points and then making that two people talking in a podcast thing.
Yeah.
Whereas what
Well, I
you
was
just
gonna
showed
try
me,
a different,
like,
a different
let me, let me-
command.
well, yeah, but here's the thing: if I wanted to do what you did with that in 1981, I would put on my shoes, put on my coat, and unfortunately grab a pack of cigarettes because I was an idiot. Go, walk down the street a few blocks, get to the library, go in the front door, go over to the card catalog, start looking at things, realize I don't know what I'm looking for, go to the library and say, this is a list of things I'm going to need. And she'd tell me which section of the card catalog to look. And I would
Or
spend an
maybe a
hour looking
microfiche.
if necessary. If you need that much information, chances are, and you said fish, it's fish. It's a French
Whatever.
word, microfiche, not microfiche.
You
But
knew what I was
anyway,
talking about.
I did. um, but anyways, yeah. So that's how I do it. So even now, right? Let's go back a year and a half before everybody's doing the AI thing. You'd be Googling information. You go to Wikipedia, not because you want to get what you think is, hard pressed information, but because at the bottom of the Wikipedia page, there is information where you can look for the information. So you can go to all those sites and check everything out for yourself. And then wherever they cite from, and then you can go do another Google search and you keep checking and you ask people and so on. And you go through it. So to get the amount of information you got at the bare minimum, a year and a half, 2 years ago, would have taken you probably the better part of about 7 hours to pull that information, because you'd have to stop and eat, go to the bathroom once in a while, and that's if you're not working. If you're working, it might take you a couple of days, a couple hours here and a couple hours there of research.
Because the amount of sheer sources it pulled from to me was like, wow. I mean, it just like, you didn't see it like doing it. Like it had like a little circle, like, okay, we're preparing your research.
How long did it take?
It was like 10 or 15 minutes.
It's not bad. I mean,
that's a lot of information.
It'd be nice if it was instant, but then again, but no, serious, 10 or 15 minutes. You give it this go, you blah, 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 typing, right? And you go, you make yourself a sandwich, play some COD, You come back to the computer and you're like, what the hell? My research papers. I mean my essay. I mean my experiment is done. I'm just kidding.
Well, and the fact it allows you to turn it right into a Google Doc was awesome too, because it's like boom.
Oh yeah. So basically, you could have taken anything that has anything to do with figures, numbers, or anything like that. You could have put it into, probably told it to include an Excel sheet, or not necessarily Excel, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Which is pretty interesting. That's a lot of work that can get done. Easy for that kind of thing. And then, of course, just going through it to verify everything would have to be relatively easy. And also, because you can put it in a Google Doc, that means you can actually automatically get a summary of it. And that summary, you can actually have Google Gemini actually fact check everything.
Yeah, I was trying to, I didn't go look for. Oh, here it is. I wonder what I'm trying to find out, like what folder it put it in, because I never went and actually looked for it.
What was the name? What's the name of the site again that's at? I want to see if it's working now.
It's just in Gemini, and you know how you have that pop down list at the top.
Yep.
And it was just available in there.
Yeah, and they never. It's odd because they never said it was America only at any point. My mouse disappeared again. I hate it when that happens.
So I think it just dumped it right in my main. It didn't create a folder; it just created a file. So that's okay. Yeah, that's fine.
What do you mean sign in? How do I have to sign into Gemini? I'm already signed in. What?
Yeah, you should have the same thing because we're both using Gemini Advanced. So
yeah, unless it's America only, which we all know is a thing.
I also have the option for Flash Experiment.
Oh, I have to check my phone.
I didn't even look at
my phone, but it didn't give me it didn't give me anything on my phone. What phone did it send it to? This phone, but there's nothing here. They lied to me. Okay.
Does it make you match the picture or something?
No, there's nothing on my phone. Okay, resend. I mean, I heard a ding, but it never actually came up. See, it's dinging, but nothing's happening. That is the weirdest thing. Are you kidding me? It's literally sending me stuff, but it's not.
Maybe it's stuck somewhere on your other phone that's attached to your computer right now.
No, it's specifically saying it's sending it to this phone.
Oh, I don't know. I do hear it, dinking and clonking.
All right, I will do it again. Oh my God, it is the other phone. How the hell does it think the Pixel 9 Pro XL is the other phone? Are you kidding me? The other phone is an 8. Tap yes on your phone or tablet. I'm right here. What? I don't want to use
Oh, technology. Gosh, you gotta love it.
I'll use my pass key.
Gotta love it. Good stuff.
We weren't able to sign you in with a pass key. Oh, great way to go, Google! You broke yourself. I'm actually signed in, so I don't understand.
That's funny. You broke yourself.
Now they want me to verify who I am on my own computer again. Oh my God. Yes, it's my computer. What the hell? This is Windows' fault. Are you kidding me? Did they change my password or something? No, it's still the same. Okay, you might as well talk about something else before whoever's watching goes, what's wrong with these idiots?
It's technology. It's it's one of those things that it's frustrating. So, well, we can move on from that. You can check it later once you get off here, and you can see if you've got access to it. It was just a drop down in the menu. So I have 1.5 Pro, 1.5 Flash, 1.5 Pro with deep research.
I get that. Yeah, I get that. I just would have liked to have been able to verify that on camera, whether it does or doesn't. Because if it doesn't by now, that means it's America only. So here I go with what else is open on my phone. I'll try it on here on my Teleo type like phone. Gemini, and we'll see. What? In-depth information in minutes.
There you go. Look at that.
It's not. Is it focusing? I can't tell.
Well, it's in and out. So yeah, no.
Right now. Yep. Deep research.
Nice. Okay. See,
what should I tell it? What should I tell it to research?
Why they can't make lithium ion replace 12-volt battery?
Oh, great. Oh, now it's listening. Oh,
does it not work with the voice?
Reasons that a
lithium ion can't replace a 12-volt battery?
I can't remember what the hell I was trying to say. I had to stop it. What do you call electric vehicle? This is your fault. Okay, let's try that again. Reason that an electric vehicle needs a 12-volt battery, and why whatever it needs it for can't just be done with the lithium battery bank. Probably should have given it more detailed information than that.
Oh, well.
Oh, I did. It went back to the other one. It's just giving me a standard Gemini answer because I forgot to change it.
Oh, well.
Well, at least I have it, so I'll play with it later.
It's pretty cool. And it's, again, the amount of information it gave me was pretty awesome.
Yeah. So listen, we got so far off the track in regards to the whole Apple intelligence thing. In reality, if you have an iPhone right now and you're not planning to switch over to Android because you're upset about Apple intelligence not being as good as they told you, reality is it's early. Gemini didn't work with a damn when they started it either. I mean, it sounded nice and it answered some questions quickly and easily, but it didn't do very much, and it's still adding functionality as we speak now. So if this is day one and it doesn't seem like it's as good as you had hoped, give it time. It'll get better.
Apple's always done things on their own time frame. They've never
Yeah.
followed the norm, so to speak, or
Well,
the
sometimes they do.
patterns.
Sometimes they do. They're following it right now. Google puts out something that isn't ready. Apple does the same. Google updates it and says this is brilliant now, but it's still not ready for prime time. Apple does the same.
True.
Google says we're going to have a much better version next month. Apple does the same. Google turns out to not be that great. Apple does the same. Meanwhile, Samsung's sitting back going. So, and you know, I rag on Samsung because I can't stand the square phone and the extra stuff I don't need, and I like stuff to be simplistic like a Pixel. But do they make great hardware? My God, yes. Have they figured out how to do the software right? Ask Robert. He'll tell you, and so will millions of other people.
There's not near as much bloat as there used to be. That was my biggest issue too, why I moved away from them a long time ago. But they've taken 99% of that bloat out.
There still is. And I mean, that's why you're still hearing news about, oh, they're starting to tell you, well, we're not going to do this with this messaging app anymore. And now we're going to take this functionality out.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why I said most of it.
Yeah. You know, they're almost as bad as Google. You have more than one messaging app.
Yeah.
Nobody's as bad as Google at messaging apps. That's good. No. Or amount of messaging apps, I should say. But the truth of the matter is, technically, Google only has 2, by the way, now. They're still hanging on to the other one, whatever it's called. I don't even remember because I've changed the name.
Chat,
that's it. Yes, Chat. Which is kind of ridiculous. They should just merge it back in the first place. It never should have been unmerged.
Yeah, but I'm wondering if, because, like, for example, I can have chat here in my browser, and I can, like, when I go to my email, I can have a chat button over on the left-hand side. And my wife actually uses it in her practice because she's a Google Workspace subscriber.
Right.
And she uses that for inner office, you know, like, messenger, so to speak. Yeah. So maybe that's why that is like that, because you can more...
Okay,
but hone it, you know, but no.
Here's what I'm saying. Let's first take a look back prior to iOS's great iMessage thing, to the BlackBerry days, BlackBerry Messenger. 2 BlackBerries would give them their secure end-to-end encrypted messages, blah, blah, blah. But if I texted you on your BlackBerry with my HTC Hero, you still got the message, and vice versa. From the very same app. Well, Apple took this and went, hey, good idea. But according to all Apple people, they invented it. Anyways, that's going to be the damn blooper today. Every week, right? Anyways, so you use iMessage and everything is just amalgamated into that little thing, right? So, and that's why they complain, oh, yeah, well, it works and blah, blah, blah. Well, it's kind of sort of what they kind of wish they could have done with RCS messaging, except Messenger is literally just for text messaging.
Right.
Right. Whereas the chat one, which used to be Hangouts before Hangouts was ripped out and put to Meet, and then chat was done, and you had to transfer the shit over to chat instead of keeping Hangouts, which makes no sense whatsoever. Get rid of Hangouts. They don't have it now. Now it's Meet, which is not to be confused with Meet, which used to be chat, but chat is now chat because it used to be Meet. I swear, this is all true.
And nobody asked us to explain that because we can't.
Exactly. The thing is that chat, however, is a system that, if it's not, can easily be implemented as end-to-end encrypted. It would literally just be a line of code they'd have to put in there, for crying out loud, because it's already prepared for it. It's their own software. It goes through the thing. It can be end-to-end encrypted if it's not. I don't know if it is or not. I haven't used it in over a year. But I still have it, and I still know people who use it. If they implemented that into Google Messages, they could call it chat if they wanted to instead of messages, whatever. And then if no matter what you get, you would see that, but you have a different emblem next to the person that's talking to you or sending you a message or that you're sending a message to. If you're sending it to them in chat, and if you're sending a new message, you would obviously have either two different floating fobs to choose from, or you'd hit one and then it would ask you where you want to send it to. Are you sending to a phone number? Are you sending to a private, another number, or to an email address or whatever?
Right.
And I don't understand why they won't do that, because you could still have all of that, which would still allow for all of the, I mean, you have end-to-end encryption if it's just message to message, but if someone else isn't using it, you then have to go to a third party instead. So now you have to use WhatsApp for this person, your regular messaging to an iOS device for this one, but this other guy says, I need to use chat, and the other one wants to use some other service I can't think of the name of. And here's the US government telling you should stop texting each other if you're iOS and Android texting each other.
Which people, that's, come on. That's ridiculous.
You want to explain why that's stupid? Because I
think it's self-explanatory. I mean,
it's not self-explanatory because people are listening to it. People are asking questions. They're posting links. They're making videos and talking about it. For the record, the FBI is concerned that the Chinese government is looking at all of your texts. And so I say, unless you're talking about government secrets or something illegal, because it's unencrypted and you're talking about something illegal, you shouldn't be doing it, even if it is encrypted. Yeah, and I'll tell you,
if you thought prior to all this that sending a text message was secured, you're sadly mistaken.
It wasn't at all.
There's like no change. There's like nothing's different except you have the ability to do, end to end, whereas before you didn't. But nothing's been secure. Text messages have never been a secure form of communication.
Well, the other thing too is even if they said, okay, well, yeah, but I can use WhatsApp and it would be end-to-end encrypted the whole time. So, yeah, it's end-to-end encrypted, but if you're not talking about something that actually you give a shit about the Chinese government finding out about, like, I don't think they give a shit about your grandmother's rhubarb pie recipe. Okay. So the thing is, if it's end-to-end encrypted and you're saying something illegal in the text, somewhere the either FBI, Chinese government, Canadian government, Zimbabwean government, whatever, is going to seize somebody's device. It's not encrypted on either end. It's end to end, not encrypted on your phone, not encrypted on his. Is there security on the phone to prevent somebody from hacking? Yes. Is there security on the phone to prevent somebody from actually getting the information? Well, to some extent, yes. But if they're the government, no. They'll get into your phone and find your text message. So the bottom line is
people don't get all freaked out. It's not that easy for them just to get into your phone.
Well, no, yeah, I know that it's not. I'm saying if you're illegal. I'm glad you pointed that out, though. But if you're doing something illegal and they're desperately trying to get in, it's not the Chinese government that's doing it, and it's not the stuff that's in between this phone and this phone. It's on your phone.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about it if you're just an average Joe or Jane minding your own business talking about Pilates tomorrow night.
And most new phones have, device encryption.
100%. But again, that encryption doesn't mean jack squat if somebody's looking over your shoulder and can see you typing.
Yeah, because as soon as you unlock it, you unencrypt it.
While you kiss the other woman at the bus stop. I don't know why I'm coming up with these bad jokes.
I'll
be here all week. And that's what you're supposed to say. Don't quit your day job. But anyways, bottom line is it's nothing to worry about at all. And also, some people have tried to make it sound like this is like Google. Like if you're an Apple user, just stick to talking to people from Apple and be afraid and go back to your green bubble blackouts. But the thing is you don't be dumb, because Apple did this, right? They chose to go with the unencrypted version of RCS rather than Google's encrypted end-to-end encrypted version. However,
Yes.
they are working on that being a thing. So by the time we get to this point next year, it's likely that all RCS messages worldwide will be end-to-end encrypted by default. So
Correct.
there's that. You know what? We went way longer than I thought we were going to go.
No, that's because we kept rambling about nothing.
Well, that is true. And my name isn't even Seinfeld or Costanza, so. And neither is
Yes.
yours, as far as I can
No,
tell.
it is not. It is
How
not.
much further do we got to go till Christmas?
What is it? A week and a half?
Is that it?
Yeah, week and a half.
Man, time flies. Okay,
Yeah.
so next week
let me
I might have a different picture up here.
Technically 2 weeks. It's the 25th, which is 2 Wednesdays from now.
So well, we obviously won't be doing one next week, so we got one more show.
No,
Christmas.
Yeah, next Wednesday we will. The following Wednesday we will not.
That's what I meant. Yeah, and if I didn't say it that way, my apologies. But I'm probably going to have a different picture for that because there's going to be a little bit more festive. I want to see if I can find a Santa hat. Why not? Get it.
We got rid of so much stuff in our attic because there's so much junk. I think we end up tossing all kinds of stuff out that,
It happens. It happens.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, it's getting close. So we're gonna have a little Christmas episode and maybe we can come up with some interesting topics that are more closely Christmas related. We should talk about all the Canadian actors that have been in Christmas movies that you love or something. Playing the part of Americans.
Yes. Yes. All right. Well, on that note, I guess we're going to sign out, and yeah, we're going to see you next week. And I hope everybody has an amazing end of your week. Yep. And I am Robert from the U.S. saying goodbye.
Lionel from Toronto saying, "Hey, toodaloo."
Peace.